Hey guys, what's up? Sel here. I hope you had all a happy new year and everybody came home safe and stuff like that. To get cut to the chase, so to speak, for the past couple weeks I've been reviewing a new mouse. It's, well, kind of new old. It's the Finnick standard issue, and if you guys remember this mouse at all, it was originally the Tech Syndicate standard issue. So Logan over at Tech Syndicate and Joanne from Joanne Tech Lover both started a tech company called Finnick that deals with, like, they sell mice, mouse pads. They're getting ready to release a keyboard pretty soon, the new Senpai, and they have a controller out as well. So that's as far as what I remember what they release. So I asked for a review of this mouse for just kind of like curiosity. I actually have the first standard issue. It had some shortcomings that I wasn't exactly thrilled with in some ways, so I was kind of curious when I heard that some of them got fixed with this one. Also, the other thing that was a big additive to me wanting to get one of these was the fact that they had a white mouse, and it's kind of got like a stormtrooper-y white and black kind of combo to it that I think looks pretty slick and goes pretty well with my current build, my current PC build. Awesome hardware. Okay, so when I first got this mouse, I was actually kind of shocked because I just requested a review for the mouse and actually got one of their stealth Finnick mouse pads. Now, what I was shocked if the information on the store is correct is that the Finnick mouse mats, although they're similar to what Tech Syndicate sold before, they're not exactly the same. They seem to be different material. Where the Tech Syndicate mats were at 2 millimeters thick, this is a little bit thicker at 3 millimeters. I was actually kind of shocked for a couple of reasons. I'm somebody that's been a fan of the SteelSeries QCK in the past, and I can tell you that SteelSeries has made some changes to that thing, let alone that it's a great mouse mat, but it doesn't really hold up over a long period of time. Usually I have to change one out about every 6 to 8 months, which never really came off as a big deal to me because they're like $6 a pop, so... like after 6 to 8 months, I'm just like kind of like whatever. Like, here's $6 more, give me another QCK. They made some changes, some slight changes to the QCK, mostly the bottom. They changed it from this like nice rubber texturized bottom to like this smoother texturized bottom with like the SteelSeries logo on it. And I think that's a mistake. After getting one of their new mouse mats with it, it does slide quite a bit more than it used to on the desk. Let alone the thing after just like a couple weeks, you start to see like a wear run in the mat itself, and it starts to look like kind of like trash, to be honest with you. It doesn't look very good. Okay, so since September, I've been using one of these. This is the HyperX, kind of back up so you can see it. Fury S mouse mat. So I had a few people tell me that the HyperX stuff is actually really good, and I got it, and I have to strongly disagree. They say it's a 3 millimeter mat, which I completely disagree with. I don't think it is. I don't really have a way to test it. But this is supposed to be a 3 millimeter mat too. Finnick sent me, and they're obviously very different in thickness. I laid that thing out on my desk, and I can tell you that it was so thick that at times when I'm resting my hand on it, it felt like I had like one of those gel packs or something that you put under your keyboard to keep you from getting like carpal tunnel syndrome or something like that. Now, it is nice. It does have like the same like kind of like anti-fray stitching and stuff like that. It held up better on wear and tear. However, like I said, I've had it on my desk since September. It's never flattened out. I've unrolled it. It's just never flattened out. I put a heavy book on it for like 2 nights. Still never flattened out. And honestly, to me, it kind of came off as like the thing is like, there's something about the mat that it has the same consistency or whatnot as laying a slice of bread on your desk and trying to use that. Now, I'm not saying it didn't glide and stuff nice, but it just came off really thick. The bottom I was even less impressed with. I found myself fixing that thing like every 2 to 3 days, just trying to recenter it on the desk where it's supposed to be. So when they sent this over, I was kind of shocked. So it's a little bit wider than I would like. But since I have a 10 keyless keyboard, I just kind of like moved things over a little bit and made it work. I'm actually really happy with it. It's held up really nice over the last 2 weeks, where a QCK I could already start seeing like a wear on the pad on that. It glides really nice with like every mouse. I've used multiple mice on it. It tracks fine. It comes flat packed, which is really nice because then I don't have to worry about trying to unroll it or having it flattened down. It has the same stitching on the sides, and it has a pretty cool little you know, fox logo. Or I guess Finnicks aren't really foxes, are they? Alright, so the other thing I'm going to say is that the bottom is texturized similar to the original QC case, so it doesn't tend to move too much. And just because of my OCD, I've like nudged it a little bit to make sure it's lined up perfectly with the edge of the desk. But other than that, like, you're really not going to notice if you're a normal person, not like me. So as far as the Finnick mouse mats go, I'm going to say like they tend to be a little bit pricey, I think. Because you're going to end up paying about 20 bucks after shipping for one of these mouse mats, and they have bigger ones too that are a bit more, like $25-30. But the quality is there, and so far, like, I've not seen like any wear or anything really show up in a mat. Also, whatever material this mat's made out of on the top, I will tell you a bonus is I have cats and they're constantly jumping on top of the desk. And the other mouse mats that I had, the fabric in there was kind of a pain to get like the cat fur off of it. This is just like a quick brush and it's off the mat. So that's just like kind of like an odd bonus in a way. But next up we have the mouse to talk about. That's what I was really doing this video for. And I'm going to tell you that overall build quality, we're going to be comparing it to the V1 a little bit. Build quality, it's a solid shell, just like the V1 was. I can squeeze the sides and there's very little creaking or anything like that. Next to no mouse rattle, which is really good. You know, all mice, like the sensor rattles a little bit, but I would say build quality wise, this is up there with like $55 to $75 mice. And that's pretty good for a mouse that's like starting out at 42 on Epic Pants, and I think maybe it goes for 44 on Amazon. So that's actually a pretty good deal. The other thing that's cool is it's now like in two colors. There's a straight black one and a straight white one. One of the things they did do is get rid of the rubber top. So the rubber top is no longer there. The rubber coating is only on the sides, which is great, so you can still grip the mouse. However, they switched out with two different colors. There's a white and black model and then just a black model. The white one's the one I have. It has a glossy top. That's not going to be for everybody. So if that's not your thing, do know that the black model is got more of like a rough textured kind of top, so it's not glossy. So that's actually great, but I do like the kind of like Stormtrooper look that this gives off. Looks very similar to my Xbox One S controller, and also to a little bit matches with like the interior of the PC I have going on right now. Okay, the mouse also has RGB capabilities built in. It's not like a full like RGB like 255 range, like it goes from like 0 I think to 255 on different levels, so you can get like a full like 16.8 million colors on the red, green, and blue scale. So it's not like that way. There's like 8 preset colors. It's got a breathing mode. It's got a breathing mode that will go through the different color cycles, and then just straight off if you don't want any RGB lighting at all. But it's all done through hardware. There's no software to download or anything like that. That's something I actually like because I don't like having... The less stuff I can have cluttering my computer, the better is pretty much the way I like it. And I think this is pretty cool for people on other operating systems like Linux, for instance. Now you can you can have a mouse with like RGB lighting or effects and stuff like that. Not have to worry about, having a driver just for that particular operating system. It doesn't need it. It's in hardware. Alright, so the button layout on this thing, and the reason I like the standard issue and have like the last standard issue actually, is to its simplicity. It's just a regular mouse. It reminds me very much of the old Microsoft Intelli mouses. It has a front and back click on the side, so you can go page front, page back, or assign it to something else in the game through like the game's own button layout or, key binding setting. There's obviously a left click, right click, scroll wheel click, or middle click. And then it's got an up and down CPI steps setting on the middle of the mouse. There's also an added sniper button that will cause the CPI to go down to its lowest setting of 400 when you press that in. Now, I'd be remiss to not mention that a lot of the flack I've gotten from this mouse and from a lot of friends compared to the old standard issue is the fact that it has the Finnick logo and not the Raise the World logo on it. The Burning Earth logo is cool, and granted, I will give you that. It is very cool. However, I don't feel like the Finnick logo is any worse than, say, like the Razer logo, the Rocat logo, the Corsair logo. Well, I mean, the new Corsair logo, not the, old one nobody wanted. But it's very distinctive, especially with the way the Finnick's big ears are on there. I actually have kind of grown to like it. I really think it is a cool logo, and I like it overall. So I think they made a pretty good pick on the logo. However, if logos are your thing, I guess you're choosing mice for different reasons. I kind of choose it for like overall grip and build quality and things like that. So the logo's almost kind of always been secondary to me. So it's fine. I don't mind a logo. So after the first few days of unboxing it, for whatever reason, the out of the RGB lighting, the red channel would kind of like flicker and then go out. And it did this for about the first 2 days of it since I had it. First time it happened, I knocked the bottom of the mouse to see if it was like a loose connection or something. It came back on. It did it one other time after that, after waking the PC up. I went to go grab my cell phone to capture it on video to put it in a review, and it was here and gone so quick that I wasn't able to capture it. However, I've been using it for an extra week and a half now. I've been kind of banging it around. I've been like using it for gaming and stuff, so I'm picking it up and putting it down like really quick and stuff. And the red channel's not had any issues since then, so I don't know what that was really about, but something that you guys should be a little bit aware of. Okay, so it's also worth saying that this is using the PixArt 3310 sensor, optical sensor. It's a pretty dead accurate sensor. It can be tuned differently depending on the mouse. I think like the Steel Series Sensei has a lower CPI setting, where something like the Mionix Caster goes up at a much higher sensor setting. This particular mouse, it's kind of tuned between 400 CPI and 5000 as the max, and it's in a 6-step configuration on the CPI buttons. As far as like sensitivity goes, at its very lowest, it goes at 400 CPI up to 800, 1600 to 3200 to 4000 and 5000. So it gives you kind of like a nice setting between the first 3 being like very low to the last 3 being kind of like on the higher side. So I guess like if you have like a higher resolution mod or something like that, that'd be great. I know like when I'm having to do a lot of work and zooming between 2 1080 monitors, I still set it at 3200. Now the sniper button, it is essentially a CPI clutch. However, I will tell you that I haven't ever really used it in gaming, and just like the last standard issue, I think it's kind of a little bit too far up out of the way, but that's more of a problem with the shell that they picked. So it's not something easily fixed without like a lot of money being spent. And I really didn't use it that often, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I kind of like play most of my games between 800 to 1600 CPI. The only game I really play any lower than that's H1Z1, because that game's got kind of like a goofy sensitivity. And I've actually played it as low as 400. Now, I will tell you that the button did come in pretty handy when I have it at 3200 and doing something like awesome hardware where I gotta go back and forth between 2 monitors and a bunch of different pages and copy and paste things. When I have to go copy and paste something and I'm at 3200, sometimes it can be a little bit of a hassle, like the sensitivity is a little bit too much. So it is handy to have that sniper button there so I can click it down, go down to 400 immediately, highlight what I need to copy and paste, and then move on and go back to 3200 again. Okay, so it's a gaming mouse. So what's the main thing I did with it? I gamed. And I played quite a few games with this. I played about, I would say, close to like 12 to 16 hours easily. And I wish I could play more, but time's always an issue for me. Of just PUBG. And PUBG, this mouse was really good. I've gotten plenty of kills. Aiming's never been a problem. If there was ever an issue, it was with my own ability to hit something. So the games I played was Titanfall 2, COD World War II, Ruiner, which Ruiner was interesting on this because I felt like it tracked pretty well, especially at like lower CPI settings. H1Z1 is the one I was talking about where I was at like a very low 400, and I was just picking stuff off like crazy, and then PUBG, of course. Out of all those, like the ones I have the most experience with is probably PUBG and Titanfall 2. And I can tell you, I definitely felt improved over the G602 with this thing. And that's pretty amazing when you consider that the G602, when I got it, was originally a $70 mouse. And this is coming out of the gate at $42.
Okay, that's bullshit.
We're winning the fight!
Maximum multiplier. Maximum multiplier. Maximum multiplier.
Two down, 6-4.
Well done, team!
Double the kills.
Okay, so there's no mouse acceleration, no mouse prediction. I could tell. I did my normal test where I just like draw a line across the screen and try to do it as straight as possible. If you have mouse prediction, typically it'll make it as straight as possible, but what I do here is I set it down to the low sensitivity, try to do it myself. And if it's picking up like the little nuances and twitches in my hand as I'm like trying to draw and stuff, that typically means that prediction's off, which is a good thing. You don't want prediction on a gaming mouse, and most gaming mice don't have prediction. Polling rate is still at 1,000, just like the last standard issue, which is good, so you get that 1 millisecond response time. Now, the only other differences I was able to notice the mouse is the mouse feels like it's a tad lighter, but that may be due to the rubberized coating being lessened and just plastic on the top. Who knows? It's very, very minimal, if at all. The only thing I can notice is that the scroll wheel itself is actually a little bit more defined in its click than the original one was. The original one seemed like it was just a tad bit easier, but like both are like pretty good scroll wheels. They both click perfectly fine, so I'm happy with either one. However, the bad thing I got to knock it for is when I got it straight out of the box, one of the problems I had with it was it had no instructions in there. Now, I'd seen Logan's video and I'd already known how to adjust the mouse into different modes. However, you're like going out there assuming that like everybody's going to know to go on YouTube and search for the Finnick like standard issue to figure out how this thing works. And I think that's a major problem. You need to have instructions in here for it, like especially for the different settings, because it's not a straightforward thing. They're asking you to press the back button down and hold down the CPI button and wait like 5 seconds for it to flash a second time, and then use the CPI buttons to go between different breathing modes and different RGB modes. I found like as though it's very intuitive in that way. At the same time, well, I'm going to be nice and let George Carlin tell you. This is why you need to have an instruction manual.
Look at it this way. Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Alright, so with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a demonstration of how to control the CPI and the RGB modes, the different stuff available for you. So first of all, I'm going to tackle the RGB lighting, since that's probably going to be the thing that most people are kind of curious on. So to initiate that, you have to hold the back button and the down CPI button. And then the mouse is going to flash. There's the flash. Okay, now we can go through the different modes. So like breathing, just still. We can go to, this is like a different color breathing. So it'll start cycling through different colors. To just off, to back to breathing. And then there's 8 different colors. There's, I don't know if you guys can tell. Let's see, there's blue, sort of like a lighter blue, I think. Purple, red, and it starts going into like orange, yellow, green, all that fun stuff. I'm colorblind, so I actually have a hard time telling it unless it's something like blue. I can actually see purple really well. I can tell that's purple. I can tell that's red. And I can tell green pretty well. But other than that, I'm pretty useless when it comes to this stuff. And I tend to like it on like a breathing mode. This is kind of soothing. So I go back to red here. And you hit the back button once you're done. And that's it, your color set. Now, the other thing here is if you go, say like it's on the lowest CPI right now. If you go up one, then it's like 800 and it'll flash, but then once it's done flashing, it goes back to its normal like color state. Okay guys, that's it. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you're feeling like, and leave your comments down below. If you feel there's something I didn't answer or something like that, go ahead and hit me up down there. I'll try to get to you in a timely manner. And you can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/cell processing. Also on Twitter at cell processing with a capital C, capital P. And other than that, you guys can join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on Twitch, where me and Brian do trial run every week, or typically every week, unless we're off like we were for the holidays this time. And yeah, come join the chat, have fun. Or if you got any questions about how the mouse mat or the mouse has been holding up over time, you can just go over, hit me up while I'm streaming, and I'll give you guys an honest answer. So, anyways, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one, and have a happy holidays. Or hope you had a happy holiday.